Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Welcome to Game 3 of the State of Origin series for 2020. Game 3 will be played on Wednesday night at Suncorp Stadium. The decider, the series is 1-1. It's going to be a fantastic game. Really looking forward to it. I wish both teams all the best, and I hope to see another fight break out in Game 3. It's what Origin's all about. Fights and bring back the beef and all that. So hopefully we see more of that on Wednesday night in the decider. But before I get into the State of Origin Game 3 preview, my tips and my predictions for the game, I just want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine on YouTube, and his name is Rugby League History. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel called Rugby League History, I recommend go and check it out. He's a fantastic YouTuber, Rugby League History. Go and check it out on YouTube. He's doing a great job. He's not far off 400 subscribers, so if he can get to 400 by the end of the year, that'd be absolutely outstanding. So if you can go and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already, that would be much appreciated. Now, let's get into the State of Origin Game 3 preview. And before I get into my tip, let's go through the lineups. So before the lineups as well, the odds as well. The game is Wednesday night, kickoff at 8:10 in New South Wales, 7:10 in Queensland. The odds, New South Wales are favourites at $1.45, and Queensland are the outsiders here at $2.90. Really looking forward to it. So let's go through the team list. So we'll start with the home side, Queensland. At fullback, Valentine Holmes. On the wings, Xavier Coates and Corey Allen. In the centres, Kurt Capewell and Dane Gagai. In the halves, Cameron Munster and the captain, Daly Cherry-Evans. The front row of Christian Welsh and Josh Papali. The hooker is Jake Friend. The back row of Felice Kafusi and Jaden Sewer. And at lock, it's Tino Fasilasalawi, however the fuck you pronounce it, Big Tino. And on the bench, Harry Grant, Lindsay Collins, Jai Arrow, and Dynamis Louis. And in the reserves, just in case of injury, Ben Hunt, Edric Lee, Mo Fodawaker, and Brenko Lee. So they've obviously dropped Philip Semi. He will not be playing. He has been replaced by Corey Allen. I think Corey Allen should have been there from the start. I still think Edric Lee should have got a run, but unlucky for Big Edric. Question marks on Cameron Munster if he will be fit. I have no doubt in the world that he'll be all good, ready to go. So Harry Grant comes onto the bench for Ben Hunt. I think Harry Grant will do a great job. So, and Dynamis Louis goes back to the bench. Christian Welsh starts. Not a bad side for Queensland. I think they've done well here. Now let's go to the New South Wales side. So at fullback, they've got James Tedesco. On the wings, Daniel Tupou and Josh Adokar. In the centres, Clint Gutherson and Jack Whiten. In the halves, Cody Walker and Nathan Cleary. The front row are Daniel Safidi and Payne Haas. The hooker is Damien Cook. The back row of Angus Crichton, Tyson Frizzell. The lock is Jack Trebojevic. And on the bench, Dale Finucane, Junior Paulo, Nathan Brown, and Isaiah Yeo. And the reserves, in case of injury, Ryan Pappenhausen, Jerome Luai, Cameron McGuinness, and Nick Kotrick. Now, Tedesco is obviously going to be the captain, and I think he did a great job in Game 2 as the leader, as the captain of the Blues side. Not really any major changes. I know there's a lot of talk about Ryan Pappenhausen should have came in. Brad Fittler has come out today and said Pappenhausen will not be playing in Game 3 unless there's an injury in the warm-up to someone. So I don't think Pappenhausen will be getting a run. Should he have been given a run? I will probably say yes. I think Pappenhausen definitely deserved a bench spot for New South Wales. Now, who would he come in for? If I was picking the side, I would probably take out Nathan Brown and put Pappenhausen on as that jersey 14. That's just my personal opinion. So, overall, I think New South Wales have named a very strong side. You know, if there's injury to the halves, you know, Jerome Luai can come straight in. If there's injury to the outside backs, you've got Nick Kotrick. If there's an injury to a forward, McGuinness can come in and play a bit of lock. You know, plenty of depth for Pappenhausen. Can come in and legit play any position. So, team list are fantastic. Now, another thing that interests me is the odds. In both of the games, New South Wales were like $1.30, and now all of a sudden it's Game 3 at Suncorp. Queensland have gone into $2.90, so not bad price for Queensland. If you think Queensland can win the series up at Suncorp Stadium, you know, $2.90 is not a bad price, but let's get to the game itself now. A couple of things with Queensland that I think go in their favour is the decider is at Suncorp Stadium, and they're underdogs once again. Queensland love that underdog tag, and we know how good they go when they've been written off and all of that. So I think that's definitely a good thing for Queensland. I think they like to be written off, and I think they're a good chance. You know, I wouldn't say Queensland are going to get killed or anything, but I think they're a chance in this game. They're definitely capable of beating New South Wales. I think Suncorp Stadium's a good advantage, especially in a decider. You know, in recent years, Queensland normally win their game at Suncorp Stadium. They don't normally get beat there very often, but it's a decider. They normally go well up there, Queensland, so I think they'll definitely handle the home ground advantage, and I guess there's a little bit of pressure on them. Series is 1-1, and it's at Suncorp, so the pressure's on them in a way. So, you know, and I think they've got the team right. I think Val Holmes will play fullback again. I thought he was decent last week, and Queensland side who got pretty bashed by New South Wales. I think Corey Allen on the wing's a good thing. I would have preferred Edric Lee to play on the wing personally, but I'm happy that Corey Allen's there. I wouldn't be surprised if I switched Corey Allen to fullback and put Val Holmes on the wing late. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I think if Queensland are struggling in the first 20 to 30 minutes, I think they could switch it. You know, what they could do is that they could switch it up on the attack. When Queensland are just, you know, with the defensive line, when they're defending, they could put Val at the back, and because Val Holmes is pretty good at calling the shots at the back, getting the defensive line in order. But when they're on the attack and trying to score points, I think they could switch Val Holmes to the wing there and put Allen at fullback. So I think they could switch it up here and there, but you don't want to switch it up too much. Now, how can Queensland win? Well, I think the start's important. I know they started all right last week, got out to a 4-0 lead, and they sort of got blown away after that. But I think their starts need to be more... they need to do more with the ball. I know they lost Munster in the first 2 minutes, and they had Ben Hunt playing 5'8", which we all know was going to be a disaster when that happened. But I think for Queensland to win, I think they need to get out to a really good start. I think they need a good 8 to 10-0 lead early to put some scoreboard pressure on New South Wales, because as we saw in Game 1, when New South Wales let that 10-0 lead go, when Queensland got in front, New South Wales started to panic and they threw the ball around. So I think for Queensland to win, I need to get out to a really good 8 to 10-0 start and just put a lot of pressure on New South Wales. I think their line speed needs to be terrific. I think if they can put a lot of pressure on Cleary and Walker, they can really try and shut them down. I think the one player they need to really stop is Damien Cook from dummy half. Even when Damien Cook doesn't run the ball, he's still so dangerous because his influence on the side is brilliant. His passes are terrific, bullet passes to the forwards. I think Queensland, if they can get out to an 8 to 10-0 lead early, put some really good line speed on the New South Wales halves, put some good kick pressure on, and back their defence, then I think that's how Queensland win that's how Queensland win the game on Wednesday night, in my opinion. It's a fast start. Line speed needs to be strong. Defence and completion rate needs to be 100%. And I think if they can stop New South Wales big-name players, I think that's how Queensland win. Now, for New South Wales, I think they've named a pretty good side. Pretty much unchanged except for... it's pretty much unchanged from Game 2. Now, you know what they say these days? Don't change anything if it's not broken. That's probably why Ryan Pappenhausen hasn't been picked. If New South Wales had got beat in Game 2, I have no doubt Pappenhausen would be playing. But because they won and they have levelled the series, New South Wales will go with an unchanged side, which I think, you know, if it ain't broken, it don't need to be fixed. So pretty much New South Wales have done that. Now, I think the problem with New South Wales in this series has been their backline. The backline hasn't been that great. I think the centres are probably a little bit of a concern. I think defensively they were a lot better in Game 2. I think Cody Walker and Nathan Cleary they definitely need to back up their performance in Game 2. They were absolutely unbelievable last week in Game 2. I thought they were out of this world, especially Cody Walker and Nathan Cleary. I thought they were both unbelievable. I think Tedesco needs to play well once again. I thought he was great last week. You know, there wasn't really any bad players for New South Wales last week, but I think if they can back it up, I think they're a good chance. I think going to Suncorp Stadium might be a bit of a concern because, you know, getting up there, going to Queensland in front of a bunch of 52,000 Queenslanders. There's talk that no New South Wales fans are allowed in the game, apparently. I don't know where I read that, but apparently no New South Wales fans are allowed in, which I think is fucking ridiculous. I'll save that for the corner post. But, you know, New South Wales have named a pretty good team. Their halves look great. Their back line is starting to gel a little bit better. This is the game where they have to go well. Now, I think that forward pack has also been really good. Last week when New South Wales were attacking the left side with Cody Walker and Angus Crichton, that combination was worrying Queensland all over the shot. So I think they need to attack that left side more, give more ball to Jack White. And I think if for New South Wales to win, me personally, they just have to complete their sets, get to their kick, put pressure on Queensland, kick to the corners and just keep them down their own end. Because New South Wales, in my opinion, they have a better team. They have better players. They just have to go out there and do it. And if they do it well on Wednesday, I have no doubt that New South Wales will win the series. Now, New South Wales bench could be the difference. I think if you look at their bench last week, Junior Paulo came on. He was brilliant. Isaiah Yeo came on. Brilliant. Nathan Brown played pretty good. And Dale Finucane, he was great as well. As for the Queensland bench, I think Harry Grant is probably their main man. I think Jake Friend will probably come off probably around the 30th minute mark for Queensland. But, I think for New South Wales to win, personally, they just have to complete their sets well and put a bit of pressure on Queensland. What I mean by pressure is if Queensland are attacking the goal line and they can't crack them, that'll get Queensland mentally and they'll be all over the place. So I think if New South Wales complete their sets, kick to the corners, worry the defence on either side, get Walker to go deep on the line, make Crichton push up with him, make Jack White run a line as well. Could even be a nice face ball to White. So I think New South Wales, if they get it right, if they play as well as we know they can, I think they'll win. Now, as for my prediction for Wednesday night, I think New South Wales will beat Queensland, and I think they'll do it competitively well. I think they'll win by 13 plus. I think they'll be a little bit too good for Queensland. I know it's in Suncorp Stadium, but I honestly believe if the New South Wales spine play well, they will win this game, no doubt in my mind. With all due respect to the Queensland spine, Tedesco versus Val Holmes. Tedesco is a lot better than Valentine Holmes. The halves, Walker and Munster. If you're going off this year's form, you'd have to say Cody Walker, but Munster's not far off the mark. Cherry Evans against Cleary. You've got to say Nathan Cleary, without a doubt, is better than Cherry Evans this year anyway. And Cook against Friend. Cook's a lot better than Jake Friend. And, I think the forward pack battle will also be very good. Papali and Welsh against Daniel Saifidi and Payne Haas. Great matchup. Some good matchups in the match overall. But my prediction, Wednesday night, New South Wales to defeat Queensland at Suncorp Stadium, 13 plus. I'm going to go New South Wales to win. I'm going to go 32 points to 10. So New South Wales by 22 points. New South Wales to defeat Queensland, 32 points to 10. Actually, hang on. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not going to go with that because I just saw last week was 34-10. I'm going to make it a bit closer than that. I'm going to go New South Wales to defeat Queensland, 28 points to 8. That's a better scoreline. New South Wales to win, 28-8. So New South Wales by 20. My man of the match for Game 3, I am going to predict James Tedesco for man of the match. Now, I know you guys want to see a multi, so I'm going to get in the sports bet right now. We're going to do it live. I haven't written down any bets here, so this is pretty much off the script here. Here we go. State of origin. So New South Wales versus Queensland, guys. New South Wales to win. I'm very confident that they'll win the series. I'm going to go 13 plus. Blues by 20. My first try scorer for Origin 3. I like Cody Walker, guys, for the first try scorer. And the anytime try scorer, I'm going to back James Tedesco. That multi will give you $56 on Sportsbet. So New South Wales to win, 13 plus. First try scorer, Cody Walker. Anytime try scorer, James Tedesco. New South Wales to defeat Queensland on Wednesday night, 28 points to 8. So Blues by 20. And my man of the match, James Tedesco, Cody Walker for first try. But anyway, guys, it's going to wrap up for my State of Origin Game 3 preview. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share the video to your mates. Make sure you go and subscribe to Rugby League History on YouTube if you haven't already. I appreciate everyone who took the time out of their day or night to watch my video. Much appreciated. Thank you guys for the support. I'm out of here. Have a fantastic Monday night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Warriors review. Until then, have a good one.